Here we go. This is it. One final season with the Detroit Red Wings. It's never easy to end a draft to glory before we hit that final season, but I think the comments have really gone to show that the bloom is off the rose a little bit, and we need to draw the line in the sand somewhere. This is that episode. The hype, the grandeur, the pomp and circumstance to say at the start of this episode that this is it. At least gives us a chance to have closure if it's not. This is it. We need this to be it. We could go for another 8 years or whatever the hell it is at this point. But you know what? If this team's not going to get it done right now, then are they ever going to get it done? Ted Lehman's 23. He's not going to get that much better in terms of that overall. Justin Madsen is basically, capped out where he is right now. Same for DeAndre Carlton, who's already 28 goddamn years old. That second line of Cashman, he's 32 already. Some of our veterans are going to start getting worse. Cameron Merritt's 31. Brendan Othman, 32 as well. Third line of Reed Neal, William McCauley, and Aiden Recchi. Of course, the fourth line now, Brendan Hoffman, Hayden Fowler, and Harvey Brennan. So you see the point. We know there's not that much help coming on the way. The past couple of drafts have been pretty damn poor. The biggest issue for us has been the defense. Medium top 4 players not developing this year. Medium top 6 forwards as well. But in this particular instance, medium top 4 defensemen not developing is a major, major issue in NHL 20. And it was a major, major issue for us in this series. The X factor here is that Tristan Lennox is gone. Nearly a day one guy in this franchise mode. Alan Morgan is here. The argument now is, well, would he be the guy? Would he be the guy to get us over the hump? I can't help but think he'd cap out where Lowe is at an 83, 84, and 85 at the very highest. So, again, you look at this team, and you could say that this is probably going to be the best it's going to ever be. I can't really see us getting much better than where we already are at this stage, or perhaps where we've already been. You could make that argument as well. But, in the system right now, we have Michael Cutler, who's 19 and only a 52. You have Peckham, who's 18 and a 62, so he might be like a decent bottom 6 guy by the end of it. That help isn't coming. It just isn't. That help is not on the way. So that is why we've made that call. This is the team. This is the line in the sand. And, whether we make the playoffs or not, whether we win the cup or not, this is it. No matter what. As we did end up hiring that B- coach who fits this team well. I have an offer out to a goalie coach as I speak. So we'll see how that goes down and if he ends up accepting. At least I think I have that offer out to the goalie coach. If not, I'm just going to promote. There we go. Magnus Ahonen has been signed. I still want to take a look, though, at the upcoming draft class and who might be available, because you watch. Now there will be decent players available, but they'll probably still be out of reach. So we look here in the OHL. Peterborough, Guelph, Barrie, Peterborough, Sudbury, Hamilton, Erie. The first player right now is 79th in the preseason Central Scouting rankings. We're toast. We're toast. So this is it. This core gets one more shot, one opportunity. Don't miss your chance to blow 'em, Mom. Spaghetti. This is all you got. We've had so many chances now. Let's see what they can do. And then this series takes a back seat while we finish up our run in Ottawa that hasn't gotten as much time to really kind of develop as I wanted it to. And, of course, the new One and Done series that we've been doing. Of course, keep an eye on that as well. The Anaheim and Arizona episodes are already out. Of course, still looking for input as to whether or not we're going to be doing a Seattle expansion on that front, too. A one-and-done challenge with an expansion team could end up being pretty interesting. That said, the overalls for this season, 90, 83, and an 81. Is that enough? Is that good enough to get the job done? We are going to find out. So we will go ahead, take the plunge. We're going to sim all the way to January here in one shot, which might, our hand might be forced here, really, if you think about it. If we end up being absolutely horrible here, maybe we have to change out some personnel, because let's be honest, there is some bottom six personnel or some defensemen that are relatively interchangeable with some of the players that we have starting in the AHL. So if our situation is that bad, we might look at making some changes, but for the most part here, we should probably be fine, I would presume. 3-4, though, not exactly the record that we would have wanted to see at this stage. But we are, of course, in the very early stages of this. And man, this sim could be going a little bit faster. Just a little bit. I'm not singing just the two of us. I will get copywritten. That is what I will do. And I do not want to do copywritten. Man, I can't escape this. Can I? I simply can't. 6-6-2, though, again, not that much to talk about right now. But this team does have nearly 2 months to prove themselves right now in this run that they can make it. Because, at the end of the day, our top-notch players should be able to carry us right now. They really should. And if they can't, I don't think any amount of mix and matching in the bottom six or on like the third defense pair is going to be enough to get this to where we want it to be, right? So we shall see how it goes. We shall see what it do, what it be. And we will take it from there. So 10-9-2. Still not ideal by any stretch of the imagination, but it is good enough to be hanging around a playoff spot right now, as embarrassing as that is for everybody else in the league, I would say. Especially in the division, as things work out that way. So December 1st, another month, one more month here before we take a look at the lines, take a look at the stats, see how things go. And then we'll make adjustments if we have to. But, of course, we are very limited in what we can do. And I'm not going to break the rules of the series for the sake of just being like, oh, well, here, let's just, make a shitload of trades and stock up on players. It's not how I like doing things. And, of course, we already have a series like that where it's like, hey, let's go ahead and make moves and try to get this team a cup right now. We need to see if the luck of the draw was on our side. And, really, that is one of the reasons why, I'm glad I started up Draft to Glory on this channel in NHL 17. It's been a staple of this channel for almost 4 years now. Jesus, I've been doing this for that long, huh? I've been doing it for longer than that. I've been doing it for 5, I think. But, point being, it's been a staple of this channel, and not to spoil some of these series. And if you haven't, indulged on some prior Draft to Glory series, feel free to. There have been some legendary series out there from me, but that's not a self-proclaimed thing. That's just what I've been told. But sometimes you are at the mercy of the luck of the draw, especially if you have further draft limitations like we've had. We are currently in a wild card spot, just off the pace of being in second in the division. So this team certainly has the ability to make it, but DeAndre Carlton, being our leading scorer at 32 points, it's not quite what I had in mind. Ted Lehman only has 24 points. 23 for Madsen. Good Lord. This team just can't score. Brendan Othman is turning into a top goal scorer now. This team can just simply not score. That Hoffman-Fowler-Brennan pair, or line, I'm not too pleased with. Drysdale with 24 points. Vigilante and Bales really isn't working, but this is the best team in terms of chemistry that we can put together. Howard Lowe's been solid. Morgan's only played 2 games. Do I not have auto-rotate on? So, fun fact, auto-rotate wasn't on, and the dog started barking, so sorry for a jump cut there. We're going to see what happens now that it's back on, but it's not as if Howard Lowe's played that poorly. Like I mentioned, there are some players of slightly lower overall that we can call up from the AHL, but it really isn't going to make that drastic of a difference, at least in my opinion. I think at this stage, it's just a matter of going for it here and just hoping that this team's good enough. Like I said, I can't imagine that we wouldn't, be good enough to make the playoffs based off of what we've been seeing in the Atlantic Division so far, but I suppose you never know, and ultimately we could end up being relatively poor. It's just, that's always the issue, right? Especially in this series for the last couple of seasons. We just kicked the shit out of St. Louis, and yes, we're on a decent run here. But, looking at the team, it's like, okay, first step, make the playoffs, please. And that's the expectation, but make the playoffs, and then we'll worry about it once we get there. This team proven to be a little bit streaky, though. You win 5, now you've lost 2. Vancouver can't make it 3. Still in a wild card spot. The Atlantic Division is so bad, though. The only competition we really have right now is Boston, and then the rest of the Metro teams for those spots. So 51 games in, 56 points with 26 wins. Currently in a wild card spot, still within reach of Buffalo for second in the division. Let's see what we have here. Layman, it's okay. It's not great. It's not great for Madsen either. Carlton on 43 points is fine, but not amazing. 40 points for Cashman. You have Merritt. 20 goals for Brennan Othman. Good point total there for Neal. I'm not overly happy with the plus-minus. And I do wonder if swapping Fowler and McCauley could do some business there. But again, then we'd be sacrificing chemistry. Hoffman, 10 points and a -7. I'm not too happy with Brennan and Hoffman, if we're being honest. The 19 points for McCauley. In terms of call-up options, we're looking at the likes of Burish, Maldine, Comrie, guys that we've had before on the team and that haven't at times made the most of their opportunities. Of course, Max Galad's still here. Hector Zhao. You get Tony Shepard, who's been around forever. I'm looking at like Edwards, Bufflin, and Gilbert. And then there's Garnett, who just never made it. Edwards, Bufflin, Gilbert, Garnett. Why not try to spark the team? Why not try? I hate to say it, but Hayden Fowler might be off this team after all this time. As crazy as that is. Edwards, Gilbert, Bufflin. Send those guys down. And then we'll also look to bump up Garnett. And I just want to see what we have here in terms of line chemistry. And what combinations we could potentially put together here. So we'll go best lines in the AHL. And then for the forwards here, let's see what we have. So Gilbert, do you fit in the bottom 6? Yes, you do. Interesting. That right-hand side, Garnett, do you fit in the bottom 6? You do. Interesting. For centers, Edwards, do you fit within the bottom 6? Looks like it. He does. He's a decent little fit. I hate to say it, but maybe Hayden Fowler ends up taking a seat so we can get Bufflin in on this team, who fits the third line a little bit better. I don't hate it. Bufflin's actually a really good fit for that line. Not that he can necessarily be a power forward. Reed Neal as a power forward would make a decent amount of sense. He's played there before, but he's also a hell of a playmaker, with Recchi being a hell of a sniper. Could just leave Bufflin as a two-way, but I think we get a +5 out of that. And then here, obviously we'd just want to try these guys as grinders to see what would happen. Edwards can play center. Interesting. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to make these changes. We're just going to try it. I mean, the issue right there with that bottom 6 certainly happened to be the penalties that were being taken and the fact that this chair won't stop squeaking, damn it. But yeah, the penalties that were being taken on top of the offense not quite being what we wanted it to be. I guess McCauley wasn't that bad, but he wasn't an impact player like I needed him to be. So we'll see what we have here. So Garnett, you're going to be switched over to that left-hand side as a grinder. It's good to see Tim Garnett finally making the team. Strong tash, but ultimately not exactly what we need. I mean, it might be exactly what we need, actually. Maybe he's the one. Maybe that Tash can put up points. Left wings here, Layman, Cashman, Neal. We have Gilbert, who will be changing sides. Good old Steve Gilbert, perhaps. And we'll see what he looks like on the other side. 2036, goddamn. Good old Gilbert. Congratulations, Steve. You've made the team. Number 47. As a forward, I'll take it. You do what you have to do. And then for centers, it's going to be Edwards as a grinder. Matt Edwards. Let's see what you are capable of, sir. Strong beard here for Edwards. I like it. And then we will... we will switch over Bufflin as well. And from there, we're just going to run for it and hope for the best. So, Corbin Bufflin. I hope he can be as big of a force. As big of a force as the real Dusty Bufflin. Hey, there you go, Corbin. So, let's see. Let's have you in as a power forward. He doesn't have the size, but I have a feeling this can get us into a +5. So, you are not Dustin Bufflin, but I am going to hope you can be as much of a presence on ice as he used to be, at the very least. So we're going to see if that indeed gives us a +5 with him being a power forward. Will it? Yes, it will. So there you go. 1-3-5-3. Not bad. So some lower level players in this lineup. This could completely backfire, but I'm hoping that the penalties won't be as consistent, and then maybe somehow, some way this works. I mean, you got to figure, in the early stages of this series, we had some lower overall players, but with good potentials, just playing at the NHL level. And in terms of getting players to develop, it didn't necessarily hurt them, all things considered. So, we'll see what happens, right? That's really all we can do. And so far, we haven't been tremendous out of those changes. Good God, we're getting pooped on right now. How fitting would it be to say, hey, this is our last shot, and then we end up not even making the playoffs? I mean, at least then, truly then, we would know that, that this wasn't our year, and that this wasn't our time, and that truly our time had passed us by. Our window is closed. That could certainly be the situation that we are currently looking at here. 30, 25, and 5. We're actually in third place in this division. This might very well be a playoff episode. As stupid as that is to even say, this could very well be a playoff episode. See what we got going for us here. I mean, the record's improving. We've had a pretty good stretch here. We do lose to San Jose, which, again, isn't ideal. 32, 26, and 5. Make that 33 wins. We're not going to catch the Sabres at this point. The Leafs are right there. But there is still maneuverability. There is wiggle room to make the playoffs. As just absolutely stupid as that is to say. And I can't believe I'm even saying that. But it could ultimately happen. We'll see. And as I say that, though, the losses really started to pile up here in the early stages of this month. We're going to stop right before Chicago. We are currently in a wild card spot. 2 points ahead of the Bruins. And over in the Metro, just 1 point ahead of the New York Islanders. It is ourselves, Carolina, Boston, and the Islanders all battling it out for just 2 spots left. It's going to come down to the final stretch here. We lose to Chicago, who had really been struggling in their last 10, as we are now. It was a crucial loss. That win isn't enough to get us back into the playoff picture just yet with 9 games to go. San Jose will mark 8 left. We win that one as well. Huge game coming up against a division rival in Buffalo. Let's see if we can get the win here. The answer is no. Now we play New Jersey. We are screwed. 82 points for the Islanders. They have a game at hand. We might miss. Call it sabotage by changing up the bottom 6, but we might miss here. Oh my God, we have 4 games left. We are just 2 points out. This is going to be so close. We might be witnessing the final few games here for the Detroit Red Wings. Bufflin has been awful. Edwards has been awful. Garnett, Gilbert, these kids have been no better than who we sent down. That move to try and get some fresh blood into the lineup absolutely backfired. I am going to go crawling back to potentially who we had before. Let's go Burrish, Pino, and Comrie. And I think we'll call up Maldine as well. And we're going to go crawling back to those that we've used before. We're going to send Hayden Fowler down. Edwards was actually claimed by Montreal. You can have him. Based off of that performance, you can have him. It looks like those moves just horrifically backfired. I think all of our dudes are grinders here, are they not? Yeah, they are. So let's get Burrish in there. It's at least an even rating. And left-hand side, we'll have Maldine. Could easily change someone to a two-way, but I don't think it's going to matter. We'll have Pino here. And Comrie. So let me take a look here. So Pino and Comrie. Pino's a center. Burrish. There we go. We'll do that. So Neil, Pino, and it wouldn't be Pino. It would be Pino. Pino. It's like Renault, but with a pin and an O. And Recchi, Maldine, Burrish, Comrie. That move looks like it horrifically backfired. We play Boston. Fresh blood in the lineup. We lose in a shootout. Pittsburgh, Buffalo. We are 3 points out with a game at hand. We have to win, or we are in huge trouble. We do. 4-0. 2 games left. The Bruins are in. 1 point lead. The Hurricanes have clinched. It's us, the Bruins, and the Islanders battling for one more spot. This is a must-win game against a bad Penguins team, and we lose. It's over. In our final season, the Detroit Red Wings fail to make the playoffs. And with that, it's over. We end this series not on a high note, but on a whimper. Unfortunately, just the hand we were dealt, the players we were dealt. I mean, every single one of them, I would argue, underperformed in their careers. DeAndre Carlton, not a top-line guy, a solid second-line option at times. Looked like he might have had the potential with an 80-point season to be a number one center, but he's not. He's ideally a second-line center. Brennan Othmann, I mean, one hell of a career. At times was one of the best players in the league. But clearly the decline had set in over the past, 3 seasons. Only one 70-point season in those 3. He was close. But at 33, you could tell it was, he's slowing down a bit. Cameron Merritt, I mean, again, at times showing flashes of brilliance as a first-line guy. No doubt he can be a top 6 option. Justin Madsen, though, I mean, showed signs, but these guys could just never put it together consistently to say, yeah, I am a number 1 guy. Like, Ted Lehman would have been better suited in the middle 6 instead of the top 6. I am very disappointed at Ted Lehman. Willie Cashman, 800 points in his career. Same thing at times. Like, okay, are you a first liner? Are you a second liner? Maybe even a third liner. This team could just never put it together. Aiden Recchi, too. 43-goal season. Not that long ago. And it just seemed like, again, for so many of these players, Reed Neal included, some great moments at times, but I think we ended up having a lot of really stellar players, but none of them could deliver consistently like we needed them to. I think that's our biggest issue, and none of them could consistently be that top-line scoring threat that we desperately needed them to be. And I think that's where we fell short. Defensively, Jamie Drysdale is going to finish his career with us at least with 1,018 points. Will obviously be a career-minus player. A career-high 90-point season in 2030-31. 31. And it's just a shame that, kind of the face of the franchise here. We could just never get it done. 34 years old, maybe in the future seasons it would have happened, but, we're pulling the chute right now. This one's done. And it really is a shame that we're going to fall short. Like I said, for so many reasons. Our top guys were all solid, but we're never consistently top guys. And then defensively, like we talked about earlier in this episode, just the lack of player development was an absolute killer. Morgan was horrific when he played this year. Howard Lowe, there were times he won a Vezina, for God's sakes, but an .894 save percentage in his career. Again, just consistency. The lack of consistency is ultimately what buried this team. It really is. As much as that sucks to say. See Tristan Lennox. That's a very, very rough record there, Tristan. One of the original pickups. And then again, you have these defensemen, and obviously we've let go of quite a few, but Edgar Sasaki played almost, 500 games and just never all that consistent, which is why he spent the last 5 years in Grand Rapids. Jackson Gorin got a full season's worth of games, and it was okay, but nothing amazing. Jackson Van Kadishin never ended up making the NHL, as shitty as that is. Khalil Suter, someone else who we had high hopes for. 37 career points in 246 games. What the hell can you say to that, right? And forward-wise, Tony Shepard got a decent amount of games. 565 games for Tony Shepard. We tried so many different players and so many different roles and so many different line combinations. Max Galad spent 700 games on this team. And we just couldn't do it. No matter how hard we tried. Turns out you could stop us now. 700 games for William McCauley. Jesus Christ, look at that point total. For 700 games played. It's a tough pill to swallow for sure. You see Harvey Brennan, 871 career games. And it never clicked. Brendan Hoffman, see what he had, 700 career games, 229 points. And then Hayden Fowler, a very solid player indeed, over almost 1,200 career games. Jesus. The question is going to be there in terms of who deserves a Channel Hall of Fame spot. I got to be honest. Drysdale, probably, but aside from that, I think Hayden Fowler would probably make it off of name value rather than performance. He was just a solid player for us for so long, but then you look at some of these other names, do any of them deserve it when their legacy on this channel is going to be that of a team that just couldn't get it done? It's tough to say another challenge failed, but that's kind of been the name of the game in NHL 20. Never gets easier. The Red Wings, we made them the Dead Wings again, the deadest of wings. We thought we built them back up. Apparently not.